you actually use one of her characters still to today.
Yeah, the old lady puppet that you saw there in the video you showed, which is a little bit borrowed Edgar Bergen, but into my own jazzing it up a bit for contemporary times.
Right, making it your own.
Yeah, she's a Verna figure. What I love about Verna is, and it's funny, the pictures I just showed you, she would tell you that your puppet was one of a kind. But if you look at that photo right there, where my fingers are, that's the same damn old lady puppet. Just maybe a few minor differences. I have one, David Pendleton has one, Barbara Jean Crandall has one. They all look the same, you know. So that was always funny about Verna. Oh, she'd say, "Yo, this is a one-of-a-kind figure. There's no other one, no other puppet like it." And then one day I saw David Pendleton at the convention. I went, "Wait a minute, that's my puppet." Yeah, funny.
Oh, man. That's hilarious. So, how did your material evolve over the years? We kind of talked about puppets. What about material-wise?
Well, you know, I've always had a core of what I did. I had a core routine that I performed, and it was, I mean, you know, it was from all the dialogue books. Again, I look at my bookshelves. I picked up some of the best stuff that I had. In fact, it was funny. I had never heard of Paul Stadelman out of Chicago. And I wrote to a back then a quote unquote Izzy Rizzy School of Ventriloquism. You have to imagine, Landon. I thought Izzy Rizzy School of Ventriloquism was a 20-story high office building with hundreds of people working on this. It turns out it was one guy with a mimeograph machine in a magic shop. You know, but so I bought this stuff, and I bought these Paul Stadelman books. And are you familiar with Paul Stadelman? Do you know who he was?
No, I don't.
So Stadelman was a Chicago, you know, a kid show after school kind of black and white television show. He was sponsored by a bread company, I think, for the most part. But he was a Chicago staple, you know. And guys like Chuck Field, who maybe Chuck's out there, you can see the comments. I can't, but or can I see the comments? Can I see the comments? Is that possible? No, I can't. Oh yeah, I can. So Chuck Fields, you know, Chuck learned from Paul Stadelman, but I got Paul's comedy books, and I just remembered, you know, and his routines were always up for grabs, you know, I would pick pieces of that and had this core routine that I made up, and that was what I did for a while. And then what I found out was I was pretty good on the spot. So working the crowd, and it's funny when I listen to a lot of the comedy podcasts today. You know, there's always kind of these rules of comedy, right? So stand-up comedians. First of all, the rules of stand-up comedians is ventriloquists are prop comics, so they're not funny, you know? Yeah. So Jeff Dunham is not funny. And Jeff Dunham's never going to be a success in comedy. Of course, he's the highest paid comedian in the world. But, you know, that's so far goes the rule of comedy. I work the crowd a lot. And, speaking of comedy, Dale Brown just made a comment that you're scraping the bottom of the barrel with Getler. So,
well, and in response to that, Dale, that's, you know, the only reason why we're doing this interview is because you don't have the equipment to do an interview. So
exactly right. Thank you for telling him. So you haven't actually scraped the bottom of the barrel. Dale's still down there below me.
Yeah, so, there you go.
Yeah. And you know what I'm amazed at, Landon? He's watching you on YouTube, which I wasn't even sure he knew that he got that channel. So,
wow.
Yeah, isn't that something? He's on YouTube. That's incredible.
Look at that.
For those of you that are just joining us, Dale Brown is my arch nemesis. So, but anyway, and he's also the one of the most fabulous guys in the world. But we have a lot of fun together. So, so writing. So I was pretty good on the take and working the crowd, and so that's become a very, very big part of what I do. The other thing too is starting working corporate dates. I would literally send a questionnaire to corporations, and I would write material complete. And you know, how do you remember all that material? I used to put them in a file folder marked top secret, and I'd go into a corporate gig, do an hour-and-a-half show, and a half hour that was Floyd, just literally reading off a piece of paper jokes I'd written, you know, for that gig. And that's how I had done my act for years in corporate gigs. So, yep. So that being said, you know, comedy is it's thinking funny. You never stop watching other comedians, not necessarily to steal bits, but to learn timing, to learn what makes things funny and not funny. You know, today's comedians, John Mulaney, one of the most ingenious comedians out there.
Yes.
Mike Birbiglia, who's a good friend of his, another one. Chris Rock. I mean, just incredible timing. People that I love to watch. Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's silly and fun, and these are the comedians, and of course, people like Nikki Glaser, who's brand new to the scene, basically, but all of a sudden is this mega star because of what she does at roasts.
Yes.
Yeah, she's just a great comedian. Amy Schumer. I love Amy Schumer and the self-effacing humor that she has. So you study that and you say, how can I apply that back to Vent? And we are not the bottom of the barrel. Speaking of the bottom of the barrel when it comes to comedy, quite the opposite. What we do is quite complex. It's theater. It's two characters, maybe three characters, but at traditional sense, it's two characters in theater, and it has to be believable. There's got to be a relationship. There's got to be a back and forth, and there's got to be a backstory, and that's what makes it funny.
So why do you think that there was so much backlash from other comedians in the comedy club scene?
Oh, just simply because they thought if you had to go up there with a prop, to be funny, that you could not possibly be funny, So therefore, that you were a hack. Do you remember a guy named Carrot Top?
Yes.
Yeah. So Carrot Top, also was frowned upon because he had a suitcase full of props. But that was the joke. That was the fun. I mean, he would take something out and say a one line and throw it away. I think that's harder to do in many cases. And observational humor is great. When you go to a comedy club, what do you expect to do?
I sit there and watch and observe.
What is the general public? You're different. What does the general public expect to do?
Oh, laugh,
right?
Yeah, enjoy themselves.
Halfway decent material is funny in a comedy club environment, But the real genius is right before COVID hit, my wife and I went to a comedy club and saw Kyle Kinane. Look him up on YouTube if you don't know who he is. Brilliant, really smart, comedian. I love seeing people who are as smart as that and work on their craft. It's just absolutely amazing. Well, just go back to John Mulaney. There's nobody who is as just brilliant as Mulaney is. Wrote for Saturday Night Live, wrote for The Simpsons, wrote for so many television shows.
He did absolutely phenomenal. And that's interesting. It's interesting how you can study comedians today and their style and the way that they implement their humor to their audiences and take it as inspiration for the way a character delivers something, or maybe the way a character responds, or maybe a mannerism that you can give toward a character.
Well, right, and the thing is, can you go off script? And that to me is what makes somebody super funny. So let's go back to Jeff for a second, right? First of all, Jeff's always fresh. When you go see Jeff's show, I guarantee you he's probably trying 5 or 6 brand new jokes out that night.
Yeah.
And I can usually tell when he's doing it, and I can always tell when he's gauging the humor because I've been at so many of his live shows and seen him do that. But then Jeff started putting something back into his act that I was so happy to see him do. He talks to the audience. He works the audience. He picks out of the 10 people he can see right in front of him on stage, he talks to one of them. He gets their career, where they live, a little bit about them, and then it's usually Peanut. Peanut just goes on for 10 minutes on running gags on this one particular person in the audience. Yeah. To me, I mean, it doesn't get any funnier and better than that. The audience loves it. The person being picked on loves it. And Jeff just challenges himself to come up with something brand new every night. It's like watching a sporting game. What's he going to do next?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I was talking to Bob Rumba about that exact thing, and he's like, Jeff's got these 2 giant monitors, and whenever he does audience interaction, it allows it to feel like a comedy club, and everyone feels closer. When he's selling out these giant arenas and theaters, and it's just a truly neat thing. Especially since he started in comedy clubs and he's there now, so it's definitely an interesting thing. We talked about a little bit about Verna. She made a lot of puppets and sold them at convention. Can you talk about convention and how it impacted you as a ventriloquist, and what your contribution is to the convention today?
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. After I hosted that Senior Wences birthday, believe it or not, I still not had been to a convention. I went from being a family with 6 kids to going to college to getting married young, and we had one kid, then another, you know. So I was always working my full-time job with the newspaper industry and doing shows. And luckily, my beautiful wife was able to stay home for our entire parenthood and raise all 3 of our kids. One day, my dad called me up, Landon. My dad was retired, and he said, your mom and I want to talk to you. My mom picked up the other phone, and they said, we never got to send you to the Ventriloquist convention when you were younger. So we would like to pay for you to go to your first convention. And I went in 1989, I believe it was, or 87. I got to look back on this. But there to greet me was Alan Seamock, and Alan brought me immediately to a board of advisors meeting for Vent Haven Museum. John Brooking was the president of the museum. His son Brooke is now the president. And Alan had the bright idea that if I could run these events, I could run a ventriloquist convention. So I went to the first year as a ventriloquist convention attendee, and the second year I was chairman of the convention. So
wow.
Yeah. So that was my introduction to the convention. But when I walked into that room the first time, the dealer's room especially, was like beyond. I can still the skin on the hair on the back of my neck. My skin gets all goosebumpily. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like the convention. I'm sorry that focus went out there for a second. When you're into it, and I can't imagine now looking back how I missed all those other years, you know. But luckily, I still got there when some of the older greats were there. Luckily, I got to meet people like Bob Rumba, whose photographs I had just blew me away when I would see them in news events and the New Oracle. You know, who is this guy with this incredible, creativity in these photographs, and and one after another, and there's nothing like it. So, folks, if you are not a ventriloquist, just imagine going to meet your favorite baseball player in the locker room after a game. Kind of what it's like to go to a ventriloquist convention and meet all of your heroes. And if you are a ventriloquist, you know what I mean. If you've been there, and if you haven't, get me to the 2021 convention, July 14th to the 17th. We're going to have it. We're going to beat this COVID thing and have an event convention next year.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to it. Wow. Well, you also are a public speaker.
Yep.
Share with us how you came to be a public speaker.
Well, so, I've had a pretty fun dual career, Landon. The whole time I've been doing Vent, I started working for my hometown newspaper in New Jersey because I needed a car. And see, when you major in theater, you need a car after you graduate. So, I needed a car, and the local paper was hiring in the circulation department. I went to work there thinking I'd be there for a couple of months till I saved up for another car. And here it is 38 years later. I have done everything there is possible to do in the newspaper industry, in the media industry. Sure. I have been a circulation director, an advertising director, an editor, a publisher, which was the best job in the world, quite frankly. I got to go a lot of places, do a lot of things, meet a lot of very important people. Was really blessed in my life. My favorite moments probably were with some amazing people like John Glenn, who my wife and I got to meet and know. If you've seen the movie Hidden Figures, he's that dashing young astronaut in Hidden Figures. We got to spend some time with him, and I won't go on. Just lots of very wonderful people that we met over the years. So because of that, and because of our performing piece of our lives, like you, like me, I was, asked to speak. And when I did speak, I always put humor in it. And somehow a puppet would always show up. And the next thing you knew, I was getting paid to speak, and other industries outside of the newspaper industry wanted me. And so I had a good run of years where I spoke a lot on leadership and customer service. We've since moved to northern Vermont. So we're kind of up here, and I'm not as in the middle of a population base and things like that. I've kind of enjoyed slowing down because I used to be an all day, all night kind of a guy working. So, but I've had a lot of fun.
Wow. I'm curious, what parts of performing as a professional ventriloquist translate to public speaking?
Everything, stage presence. I think the thing when you're on stage as a ventriloquist, you're constantly reading the audience. I'm constant, especially because I do like to banter back and forth. I'm always taking in who's there. Of course, the one thing if I spot somebody over here that is not laughing, is not tuned in today, if of course they're doing this while you're on stage, it just drives me nuts, and I'm going to focus on that person. I'm going to win that person over. I think the biggest thing, I was just talking about this with somebody the other day. The biggest thing that kind of really helped me cut my teeth in understanding what drives an audience to listen is in the 1990s, mall performances were huge. So we're talking 90 to 95, 96, 97. Malls would hire live acts to come in. So I used to work at the Press of Atlantic City, all day, and I would either run to a mall at night and on the weekends, or I'd fill in at the review shows and the casinos. One end of the show business to the other.
Right. Yeah.
But the mall, when you went to work in a mall to do a show, you'd walk in and there's your picture hanging there, and you're like, "Wow, look at me! Huh? I'm a big performer here. My picture's hanging in the mall." Well, you go to the stage, which is a riser with chairs set in front. And while you're setting up your stuff, there's some mom feeding her kid a sandwich, and she doesn't know who you are or why you're there. There's no audience, Finally, the mall manager comes out with a microphone and goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you our performer for today, Getler." And there's nobody there, right? Anybody that is there by accident,
Right.
What do you need to do at that point? You're like a street performer. You need to grow an audience. So I used to challenge myself to grow the audience. And to do that, you had to do your show, watch the crowd, call people in. I mean, I would literally stop in the middle of my show and some guy be walking by carrying some bags and say, "Hey, you, buddy with the red hat, come over here." Call him over, take that risk. Before you know it, you have 200 people watching a show where nobody even planned on being there. That helps you cut your teeth in show business. So that's how it translates back to public speaking.
Yes.
You're connected with the audience constantly as a public speaker. When I speak, I'm very intense and I work the audience. I like to answer questions if I'm speaking to, like, say, an industry crowd as I'm going. So it just makes you sharper. So Barry Pyatt says, "Have you encountered any meeting planners who are considering you as a paid speaker or a non-event topic, but paused because they thought it would be unusual that you were also event?" Yes, oftentimes, Barry, that happened, where I would throw in the fact that I could do comedy and vent, and they were blown away. And in fact, Barry, I used to get booked sometimes as a serious speaker in the afternoon and the entertainment that night at the banquet at night. So, yeah.
Wow. Phenomenal. Yep. Phenomenal. Kimberly, Sabrina asked who or what inspired you to do what you do today. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but it was Edgar Bergen, mainly is a big inspiration of Al's. You can see behind him, he's got a bunch of Bergen memorabilia. So I love that poster with him.
Tom Ladshaw set me up with that. That's from You Can't Cheat an Honest Man, which is probably, I think, it's one of the most enjoyable movies of all of them because W.C. Fields is in it. But, the thing I love about Bergen, again, we can't move the camera around too much, but right. I'm sorry, I get there. I'll forget. Here we go. That thing right there. That's a framed spoon and an ad for getting a free Edgar Bergen or a free Charlie McCarthy spoon. Bergen's commercial usage of the character Charlie McCarthy and incredible. It's another. It takes my business side of things and my vent side of things and mashes them up. David Wilson, of course, is one of the experts when it comes to the commercial side of Bergen. So. If you don't know who David is, I interviewed him on the Edgar Bergen page. Brilliant guy, just knows a lot.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't realize how many products he had of his characters and little toys and things until I went to the ventriloquist, the Vent Haven Museum. Yeah, and they have some of that in glass cases, and it was everything from little metal, toys to boxes for brands and things like that. It was really neat.
He had a good friend. You may have heard his friend's name is Walt Disney.
Yeah, yeah.
And I am convinced that he and Walt Disney figured out that these characters were worth as much as being up on stage or having them on film, and they're the ones that developed commercial marketing of these characters. So yeah,
Truly,
to owe those two.
Now,
someone wrote here. Look at that, Landon. Someone wrote, "I'm a huge fan of you. I think you got the wrong guy. My name is Al Getler."
Yeah, this is not my interview with Dale Brown yet. Actually, I haven't seen a comment from Dale in a while. I think he joined so he could leave.
I think he fell asleep is what happens.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he's a sleep boy.
He falls asleep a lot.
Yep.
So now you had a character. We were talking earlier in the interview about characters. You had shown us Floyd, of course. Wait, have you shown us Floyd yet? Yes, you have. Okay, that's right. And he was recently repainted, actually.
He was. Let's get technical. Let me get technical.
Let's get technical and talk about how you met Austin, because as a puppet builder, I love to talk about this type.
Yeah. So
phenomenal.
We'll let the Canon camera here focus on Floyd. Floyd was made in 75. So Alan used to put the traditional family spelling of his name on his figures. So Floyd is made out of plastic wood. As I mentioned, only one animation, his moving mouth. The paint job that he had was twice painted by Alan Seamock before. So if you looked up Floyd on the internet now and saw pictures of Floyd now, you'd see the old paint job. Austin, I think I mentioned to you off camera, there's probably two guys I would entrust with an Alan Seamock paint job. One is Austin, the other one is Tyler Ellis. But Austin is my buddy. He lives pretty close to me. I think the world of him, and I want to see him succeed in everything in life. But
yes,
he took Floyd and carefully, repainted him, and then he refitted him with a wig of a different color. Which I have to tell you, my kids have grown up with Floyd, and my daughter didn't even recognize him. My middle daughter, when she saw him, the different color hair. But it's a beautiful paint job, and I couldn't be more thrilled about the way Floyd looks today. Glasses, if you're going to have glasses on your figure, go to an optometrist like I did and have him professionally fit. So even his head moves around. Those glasses don't go anywhere. They're not stapled. They're not stitched. Flame Feature said Floyd looks happy for not being attached to a body limit. Yes, I am, Flame. I'm absolutely. Yeah. Do the old song. I ain't got no. Hey, I don't have a body.
But I like the wig because it brings out his eyes too.
It does, absolutely.
Oh, you like my eyes? Thank you. Yeah.
Before, I think you said before he had a black wig.
Black wig, yeah.
Yeah. So it's had, and sometimes depending on what what stage you have your character in front of it, can kind of get lost. I have my only Hart figure, Scooter. He's got black hair, so I've dealt with that.
Remember who made your Hart figure again? It's a beautiful figure.
Ken Pointer.
That's right, Ken Pointer. Yeah, beautiful figure. The one other quick historic thing about Floyd, Alan Seamock. Alan was a good friend. I loved him, but his hands of the figures were always mannequin hands. They weighed a ton, So a great. You asked about convention stories. Ray Gwill, the late Ray Gwill, loved Floyd and had seen him in pictures and wanted to see him firsthand. So we went back to my room. Ray, Barbara, somebody else came along with us, and maybe Jeff. And anyway, he looked at Floyd's face. He loved him, and he took the hands, which were the mannequin's hands, and he kept doing this. And he looked at me and he said, "Why do you have those hands on that beautiful figure?" And I said, "Well, he came with those hands." He goes, "No, that's not going to do." He said, "I'm going to make you a new set of hands and send it to you."
Wow.
So about not even 2 to 3 weeks later, they showed up in the mail. And those are Ray Gwill hands.
There's the detail, even in the the palm from where the thumb meets the hand, and the
it's the positioning too.
Yeah, the positioning of the figure. I love it when a dummy looks like you can have him gesture or point to something, and it's not the cupped hands that you see on the typical.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And when Floyd, when he makes an exaggeration or he uses his hand, I don't have a stick in his elbow. I just move it
like that. You know what I mean? I just move like that. That's all. See? Yeah. So How the lips doing? Lips are fine. Yeah.
Even when you have his hand positioned like this or like this, and then you turn it, it looks like he's moving his fingers because of that position that they're sculpted in. So it's a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah. See that? Look at that. See. He's smart. Yes, Landon's a smart guy. Yes, he is.
Yeah, I like to pay attention to the details as a puppet builder too. So
hey, Landon, how much are you getting paid for this tonight? What's the how much?
Not enough.
What do you mean? What's Yeah, we take PayPal, okay, sir? There you go.
All right. How much am I paying you? I'll pay you, Floyd.
No, we're not paying you, Landon.
Your contribution. Oh man.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just been a great journey for me.
Yeah.
I had a blast being a ventriloquist. I can't imagine my life any other way. Again, I could probably walk around the office and show you all kinds of things. It's just been a very, very good life. I have been blessed.
Well, and one thing that before we go, I would like for you to show everyone is you have a new character that's a squirrel.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So let me tell you the story. We live on Lake Champlain in Vermont, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place filled with. We live on an island actually, and we have farmland and we have just all kinds of beauty, and we have lots of squirrels. Yes. So we have a squirrel that comes through our yard. Who he's kind of chubby, and he's always carrying a peanut. I mean, we live in the country, but we're not living in Georgia. We don't have peanut farms. Well, the lady up the street puts out peanuts for the squirrels. So this big squirrel comes, and we have dogs, and he sits on the back porch of our house in the door window and watches the dogs bark at him while he eats the peanut, right? So my oldest daughter, MK, who's my daughters are all very funny, but MK just comes up with names. Miss McNeely was named by MK.
Cool.
Yeah. So, even when she was a kid. So she started calling this squirrel Salvador. And she'd yell at him, Salvador, get away from the door, right? So one day I was on Etsy and I found a perfect friend of mine who has joined as my IT director.
Oh, hi there, it's me, Salvador. Good to see you. Hi. That's
Salvador.
That's Landon Harley.
You know him?
Yes, I see his show all the time on YouTube. Oh my God, Landon Harley. Hi.
Hello there.
It's good to meet you.
It's good to meet you too.
I'm so excited to be on your show. This is incredible. Oh my God.
Now, Salvador, I've heard.
I can't believe it's Landon Harley. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Yeah, just ask me a question.
I heard that you are the IT squirrel.
Let's just tell you something right out of the gate, okay? When the computer goes down, okay? When it goes down, there's usually a loose nut behind the mouse. Think about that. A loose nut behind the mouse. A loose nut behind the mouse.
Oh, you're talking about me?
Yes, I am. Did you see the virtual ventriloquist convention? Did you see it?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Did you see all the times Knucklehead's microphone wasn't on?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's because I wasn't around. I know. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. You told me to push the button. I forgot to push the button. You're an idiot. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes. Salvador, you've been waiting patiently throughout this entire interview. We've, talked about this and that and, Al's history as a ventriloquist. And we talked about Jeff Dunham and how he, Ahmed and how Ahmed got involved. But who cares about Ahmed? We want to know about Salvador. How does Salvador feel today? And what's it like to be part of Al's show now?
It's really boring.
Yeah. Well, it's because I don't perform much right now, but we'll get back to performing when COVID's over. Yeah. And you're a brand new character. Yeah. So we're working on your what do we do with your character questionnaire? Yeah. That's what makes it exciting, is learning who you are, right? Like, what are your phobias?
Cats.
Cats are your phobias.
Yes, they are.
What talent are you most proud of?
I can shell a peanut in 2 seconds.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's the most exciting thing that ever happened to you?
Meeting Landon Harley!
I don't think Salvador gets out much.
He was being self-effacing.
Yes. That's right. Yeah. You know what's funny about Salvador, and you played a big role in Salvador's voice.
Oh,
which,
yeah?
You know, it's just the traditional vent voice, but he's got some stuff right here in the cheeks like that. And do you remember where that came from, Landon?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you had a teenage puppet 2 years ago at the convention who had on braces and curly hair, and I just loved those braces. And every kid that I ever knew that had braces had that kind of talking in their mouth usually when they first got them. So I incorporated that into Salvador's voice. Now we just kind of repurposed the voice to Salvador because he always.
It's great because he's got those teeth right there and he's trying to talk through them. So
that's right. Exactly. He gets it.
Yes, he does get it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Salvador. Yeah. Just a fun character.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's it. Can I go?
You can go.
All right. Bye, Landon Harley.
Bye.
I'm so excited to meet you.
Oh, well, thank you for being part of this.
Oh, it's no problem because you're like a star. And I'm so excited to meet you.
Oh, well, I was excited to meet you. Thank you for being on here, Salvador.
Thank you.
And for bringing Al.
Thank you.
This is getting awkward.
I know. I got to go.
Okay.
That's great. It's so much fun, though, you know, and that's one of my favorite things. You talked earlier about your first time in the dealer's room, going in there and just trying a bunch of stuff. You know, going in there with friends, vet friends, and going back and forth and you know, trying stuff and just the potential and the ideas and you know, there's so much inspiration in there. And then, of course, as we see, you know, people posting stuff online, it's just really neat.
Yeah. Hey, Landon, have you seen the Muppet Guys talking videos yet?
I have, and they're phenomenal.
So you saw Jerry Nelson says, you know, one of the finest Muppet character performers said it's all about play. It's all about taking the puppet and playing and finding that voice, and that's what it's all about. That's why you know your characters are brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
You pick them up, and you know, I think the thing about building dummies and puppets is don't define the character too much, but define it just enough. And it's a very fine line that a person has. And that's what made that teenage character of yours so brilliant, because it was there and you just had to, you know, fill in the blanks, but it wasn't overdone either.
Right. And you know, it's really, I've got some stuff like that I'm saving for the next time we all meet at convention. So I'm really excited to
I love your little mouse and rat puppets too. They're really cute. They're really fun.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah, they're really good.
If you ever need a backup of Salvador, I can make them like something like that. Yeah.
Good. That sounds good.
So in wrapping up here, what do you hope to see, Al, from the future of ventriloquism and from future ventriloquists?
Well, look, I think that certainly the bar has been set pretty high now between, you know, what Darcy Lynn has done the past couple of years, certainly what Jeff has done. You know, a guy that, you know, we don't give enough credit to this day, but who revolutionized the way Vent was being accepted in mainstream is Jay Johnson. You know, Jay took our art, and when I was in middle school, made it cool again. In high school, it made it cool again. And, you know, when I met my wife in high school, and I was very nervous to tell her I was a ventriloquist, she said, "Oh, like Chuck and Bob?" And that was it.
Wow.
I mean, sold, you know, bam. So, you know, the transition point for me really in that, and this was going to be okay, was in high school. I was a freshman, and a guy named David Remnick was directing the variety show, the pop show. And he put me in, which was great for any comedian, up against all musical acts. So I killed, you know, and that kind of changed. He's, by the way, the editor of the New Yorker magazine now.
Really?
Yeah. But so anyway, you know, I just think that formed ventriloquism for me. So when I look at the future of ventriloquism, I think it's bright. I think that there's so much more to really explore. You know, comedians keep on evolving, and I keep mentioning John Mulaney. Everybody should check John Mulaney out. That's the next evolution of comedy. And for ventriloquism, Jeff has allowed us a whole new space. Jay Johnson has allowed us a whole new space. Darcy, as young as she is carving a whole new space for what we do. So there's a bright future. It's up to you young guys and gals to keep on creating, keep on trying, and keep on experimenting. And you're going to fail sometimes, but that's okay. Keep on trying. I mean, Dale Brown has failed every day since he first picked up a dummy, and he still keeps on trying. So that was a joke, Landon. Oh no, Landon froze again. Okay, I get to wrap the show up on my own. Landon has once again lost internet service. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back and read some of your comments because we just lost Landon. Yeah, Bob Rumba, you mentioned that's when we used to get Where's the Squirrel? Thanks, he was there. I'll go back a little bit further. I know Kimberly said it looks like my older brother talking about Floyd. So Kimberly, you also asked what inspired you to do what you do today? Yeah, I think we mentioned it. Bergen was huge. Oh, Mark Berryman, I didn't know you were in the newspaper business. That's incredible. That's fantastic. Let's see. Kimberly, you've been seeing Jeff in 2015. He's great. Yeah, Gary Mulder, Mark. That is a classic one. Absolutely. Gary Mulder was, Bob, a great prop comic. Yeah, I forgot about that. Dale Brown, you're just so filled with compliments. Chuck Lyons, you're here. Let's see who else is here. Agent E had to go. That's too bad. Hey, Nicholas Bushy, you're here. That's cool. So good to see you. Hey, Hayden, you're here. Let's see. Jeff Dunham's going to show the prototype of the Peanut Hard figure tomorrow at 10. Guess what? He showed it on Saturday at our virtual ventriloquist convention, Ken. So if you didn't see that, go back and watch it. Looking back here at some comments, we're waiting for Landon to come back. Let's see here. Dennis Acosta, hi. Yeah, I reached the top. So there you go. So good deal. Hey, Al, what was the strangest thing you ever saw looking out of the window? At my house? Are you talking about, Facebook user? I would say we've seen a lot of strange things. We haven't seen a moose yet, though. That's what we're yeah, he's back. Hey, there you go.
Right. Sorry, Texas weather again. But in wrapping up,
I made a Dale Brown joke, and your face was frozen. So I thought maybe you didn't like it, but then I realized your face was frozen. So
if it was a Dale Brown joke, it was probably a good one. So
it was good. Yeah. Ken Dem wanted to know, do I enjoy working with hard figures or soft figures better? That's a tough question, Ken. I've had so many hours of improving with Floyd that I think, Floyd is still my favorite figure to work with. I do love the soft figures, though, for all the things that Landon said before about the flexibility. So that's important. Hey, Dwayne Eccles is here. Can I go ahead and give him a shout out on the fundraiser?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so Dwayne has 2 fundraisers going right now. It's an opportunity for you to, do some promo on your own show here, Landon. The first one, he's got over $5,000. Can you tell us all about the second fundraiser you and he are doing together?
Yeah, so the first fundraiser was a success with Dwayne. He, everyone contributed. It was absolutely great, and it just stopped. So he made a new one.
Oh, he's done with it? I didn't realize it stopped.
Yeah, it stopped automatically on because it was on Facebook. So we have a new fundraiser, and this is the Virtual Ventriloquism Variety Show, and it'll be on the 31st of the month. And we have a bunch of people that will be live, and we'll send in clips. All ventriloquists known and unknown all over the world. It's going to be a really neat time. It'll be a live event. You can tune in and help support the Vent Haven Museum by clicking the Facebook link to the fundraiser and donating. And it's just an amazing thing. The museum has figures and puppets from all over the world, from all backstories, and the history is just absolutely amazing. If you ever get the opportunity to go, I highly encourage it. And this is going to be a way where we can fundraise. It's kind of like an online telethon for the Vent Haven Museum, hosted by Bob Rumba and including a bunch of different acts from all over the world.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it'll be a great time, and we hope to see you there. And Al Getler, thank you so much for sitting down with me and for being part of this interview and for sharing your story.
Landon Harvey, I couldn't be prouder of you. I've known you since you first came to the convention, and it's been fun watching you grow literally and grow as a professional and as a ventriloquist. So great job.
Oh, well, thank you. And we hope to see you all next time on Landon Live. Bye, guys.
Take care.